Oh, it's fine.
And we are here, everybody. I think. I think we're here. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Engaged Family Gaming Podcast. This is our inaugural live episode. So we're flying by the seat of our pants, building the airplane as we take off. My name is Stephen Dutzman. I'm your host, as always. And this week I am joined, as always, by one of my very best friends in the whole wide world, Amanda Farrow, the Princess of Power. How are you?
Now everybody can see me doing finger guns. It's really this is so exciting for me because I make faces, and now you all get to see them.
Correct.
So I am psyched. I'm psyched that we're doing this.
Yes, very exciting. This is very exciting. This is a whole new world for Engaged Family Gaming. Speaking of a whole new world, welcome to Twitch, Mistress of Magnificence, Mom, Linda Roble. How are you?
I'm doing great. So I might have told my boys, like, guess what? Mommy's going to be on Twitch tonight. And their eyes just were like, you what? Mom's doing what?
Twitch.
Yep, it's a real thing.
You are a famous Twitch streamer now. So
there you go.
For those of you watching, for those of you listening on the audio land, don't worry. We're not stopping the audio podcast. This is a new venture for us to create video content alongside our audio content. So don't worry about this. The audio podcast will continue to get produced and will be published over the weekend. However, if you want to watch it live and see how the sausage is made, you can come on here onto twitch.tv/engagedfamilygaming and watch us live every Tuesday between 7:30 and 8 is when we start, and we go until we stop, but never later than 9. So, we're here. It is board game week. It's kind of interesting that we started our video endeavor on board game times. We have so much stuff to talk about. You two have some board games to play. I have some role-playing game stuff to talk about because I think that's my niche. Oh, there's an echo. Thank you, Jake.
Oh my gosh, I love that Waffle Chicken 08 is Jake. That's so good.
Okay, so Amanda, can you say something?
Something.
And Waffle Chicken will tell me whether or not.
Well, there's a bit of a delay. So.
Well, of course, there's a delay. Welcome to Twitchland. So.
Okay, yeah, there's an echo on everybody but you.
There's an echo on everyone but me?
Yeah. You don't have an echo, everybody else does.
That means that we're coming through twice.
Actually, wait, no, never mind. It's only...
I fixed it? Because you were coming through twice. I turned one all the way off. Linda, can you talk?
Sure, I can try talking. Hopefully this is not echoey.
Yeah, I think we'll be okay. I think we're going to be all right.
Okay.
My technical speckaroony guy is going to be checking in on us and watching the stream because, I mean, now that his dad's a famous Twitch streamer, he's got to show some support. So here we are, twitch.tv/engagedfamilygaming. It's board game week. I've got some role-playing game source books to talk about, including one that I have never spoken about before. And both Linda and Amanda have board games to talk about. And then when it's all said and done, we are going to... Linda's window keeps changing shape on me, and it's freaking me out.
So, I didn't do it. I'm not touching anything.
I promise you didn't. It's just the power of the internet.
Okay.
And so we're also going to talk about board games for kids that are 8 and up. Specifically, Linda had a whole methodology when she created this list. Specifically, games that were accessible to that. Well, you know what? I'm not even going to try and explain it. Linda's smart. She's smarter than me for certain. And she is going to.
Linda's smarter than all of us.
It's just an illusion. I'm good at the smoke and mirrors.
Smoke and mirrors. Goodness gracious, her freaking window keeps changing size. If I was a producer full time, I would be having a headache. But thankfully, what would a Twitch stream be without technical difficulties? I learned that from Ready Player Mama. Because you
because I always have technical difficulties.
Yeah, because it's such a nightmare sometimes. But we're here. Okay, so it's episode 257, by the way. So yeah, episode 1 on the Twitch, episode 257 of our podcast. Everybody that's watching here for the first time. we've been doing this for a hot minute, and like I said, board game week. So the first thing we do is we go around the horn. Linda, why don't you start us off because this is your
Okay.
maiden voyage into Twitch. So
It
why
really
don't
is.
you really get it over with? Tell us
But you
about.
Just throwing me in.
so cute. You look so cute.
She's
So, like, what's not to love?
Aw,
this is
thank
maiden
you. Well, I
voyage.
figure I've had lots. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Go ahead,
ahead.
Steve.
No. You guys are talking.
No, I was gonna say it's like the closest I've gotten to doing Twitch before is a bazillion Google Meets for work. So, I've got some background with this, but it's a whole new world.
It is.
You're
It really
used to
is.
some obnoxious guy talking over you. I promise I will not ever come up with an idea that you had and say it was mine. I will never do that. I might say it was Amanda's because I forgot. But that's just because I'm brain dead. No big deal. So
We're on the same team. It's all
yeah,
good.
we're all here
All
together.
good.
So Linda, you wanted to talk about a game called Baby Dragon Bedtime.
I do. I have to say, this game was way more than what I was expecting. So this is a game that I did get as a review copy from Tin Star Games, and it's just a deck of cards. There's 72 cards in the deck, and the idea is where, dragons have their little ones, and where do dragons sleep? Well, of course, on hoards of treasure. So the idea is it is a simultaneous deck builder where you are trying to collect a hoard for your baby dragon to go to sleep. And
Oh.
it's a cute theme. The artwork is adorable. And you start off being a deck builder, you only start off with 5 cards. And the cards allow you to take a peek at a card, to flip a card over, or to grab a card. And so you only have 3 things you can do at the beginning. And what's really neat is the whole deck of cards, aside from those couple starter cards each player gets, the whole deck is face down on the table in front of everyone. So once the gameplay begins, you are now taking your 5 little cards that are in your hand. Your 5 cards, and you're now flipping cards down to play them. And so whatever comes up is what you play. So if I put down a peek, I can reach out and peek at one card that's on the table in front of me upside down.
Oh.
If I put down a grab, then I can grab a card from the table. If I play a flip, then I just flip over one, but it's got to stay on the table. And so I'm adding things to my deck as I go.
Nice.
But it's so cool. And so the cards you might find, there are a few other action cards. And they're so cute. It's all the theme: flap, roar, swoop, crash, and there's a mama card. Yeah.
What you're saying is that I need to get this game.
It's so sweet. It's such a great little game. The only downside is shipping might be a little pricey. The publisher is out of Australia. So hopefully if you find a distributor closer, that's the only challenge, is that shipping might be a little challenging. But this is one, if they can get it distributed on, in North America, that's going to make a huge difference. But this is one, if you see a chance to snatch it up, it's adorable. And it's so cute because players choose when to end the game. It's either when all the cards are turned face up, or you can decide your baby dragon goes to sleep and you cover your cards. And then you're done. Your game is over. And you're trying to reveal gold cards, there's hoard cards, and you're just trying to get the most points. But you have to be careful. You might get a dust bunny or a piece of sticky gum and get negative points. It's so adorable. So I played it with my boys, and this is for ages 6 and up. So I'm like, we'll play it. We'll test it out. This is a little young for them. We had to play like 3 times in a row. They had a blast with it. Yeah.
Very sticky gameplay loop.
So yeah. And because it took very little time to play, almost no time to set up. So it was one of those they wanted to play again right away, which I was not expecting, but it just kind of caught us. We all love dragon themed things, but it was so fast to learn. Yeah. And this is a perfect either for the younger kids or even just a quick filler game. This would fit that perfect because it's nice. You don't have to think too much. It's just kind of fun and quick.
A palate cleanser.
Exactly.
I love that.
Yeah. No,
before you play D&D.
Exactly. Yeah. Like kind of get your brain into dragon mode, and then
dungeon mode.
There we go.
What happened there? Good thing the next thing that we're going to be talking about is going to be Dungeons and Dragons, though. Am I right? Am I right?
Maybe, because I think we're going to talk about your game first. But we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons soon. Oh, did I ruin your segue? Do you want me to just accept the segue?
I think you should accept the segue.
All right. Well, I'll do that.
I threw it to you.
I just rejected the segue.
Here's your segue. I'm so good at segues now because of virtual economy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you are. You guys are talented. So Baby Dragon Bedtime is from Tin Star Games, and it is, let's see here, it is $25 plus postage, that's the challenge.
Plus big old shipping.
Yeah, so, but it's 25 Australian, so it's about $20 US. And I would have to actually buy it for it to tell me the shipping, but we're shipping from Australia, so we will accept the downside on that. So, as Amanda alluded to, I am the role-playing game guy amongst the three of us. That is the niche that I have carved, and I want to talk about the new Dungeons and Dragons book that came out this past week, and that is the Candlekeep Mysteries. Don't worry, I'll have the set behind me set up within the next week or so we don't have to worry about fighting with the thing thinking it's my wall popping up in front of me. So Candlekeep Mysteries is a new Dungeons & Dragons source book that handles things a little differently than other written adventures. And there's a few things. We've talked about this before. However, the thing I really like about it is that this was written by a number of different contributors. In that this is a very small section in the front about a place called Candlekeep, which is just a really fancy, excuse me, it's just like a really fancy library, which is the setting. All of these games take place at Candlekeep, but they're not connected. Mm-hmm. There are 17 adventures. No, 17. I'm sorry. 17 adventures. They all take place. They start in Candlekeep, which is a giant library. You know what I kind of imagine it? Have either of you guys read The Name of the Wind?
I'm in the middle of The Name of the Wind, so yes and no.
So, you know, like the crazy libraries that he goes into, now admittedly not family-friendly, books, but there's a library he goes into that's like just this labyrinthine library full of ancient tomes and everything you can imagine. That's kind of like what this place is. And all of the adventures in this book are themed around either finding a book in the library and it taking you on a wild quest, or being sent on a quest to go get a book for the library. And so there's one and they're all at various levels. And so they can't really be combined into one campaign easily. Mm-hmm. It would take some work from a skilled dungeon master. However, all of these can be run as side-of-the-road one-shots. Because the reality is, it's like, you don't have to find a fancy book in a fancy library. It could be in a bedside table at an inn, right? You know, it could be on a monster. You know, it's like you're fighting goblins and all of a sudden
because sometimes goblins just need to have bedtime stories.
Exactly.
And sometimes those bedtime stories are really scary tomes of magic.
Exactly.
We don't know.
One of the things I
really don't know their lives.
I don't, and I'm not here to judge either. One of the adventures is written for adventures of level 16, which is pretty exciting because you don't normally get one-shots that high. So that's Candlekeep Mysteries. The other thing that it has is, and I'm looking at the table of contents, is my understanding is that it has the rule. I thought I heard that it was going to have the rules for the, because I haven't read this whole book yet. It's a lot. Is that it was going to have the rules for the wheelchair.
Oh.
The combat wheelchair. But I haven't seen it yet, and I think it's maybe in one of the adventures. But if it's not, then it's in the next. Then that's in the next book. I don't know. I can't keep up sometimes. So that's Candlekeep Mysteries. It is it's a normal Dungeons and Dragons book price. So at a retail store it's going to be $50. Amazon it'll be significantly less. I think this is a very cool book because, this is way less intimidating for new dungeon masters because, you pull out Curse of Strahd or you pull out, the Storm King's Thunder, and that is going to be a very intimidating book because it is a full quest that you got to keep track of and you got to read the whole thing. Here, the first adventure is maybe like 8 or 9 pages, and you could totally just run that one, and then you could run the others as well. And it does come with a giant map of Candlekeep, which is pretty. I love the giant maps in the back of this. So this is Candlekeep Mysteries. It's an anthology. And they're all mysteries too, which I do enjoy. All the stories are all about trying to discover the secrets of that book or discover other secrets using that book. Speaking of role-playing game books, I want to talk about another thing that came to my house today, and this is not Dungeons & Dragons related, but it is tabletop role-playing game themed, and that is the Ultimate Micro RPG book. Now, what's a micro RPG, you might say? Well, I'll tell you. A micro RPG is essentially it's intended to be like one-shots or, a few hours, like that type of thing. These are a series of adventures that or not adventures, they're like entire games that are one page. And thank you for helping with the links, Amanda. So
no problem. That's why I have 2 monitors.
You're certainly helping. So for example, the first game that is in here is called Absolution in Brass, and it is a steampunk zombie cyborg game. And it says it's for 3 to 4 players. The playing time is 60 to 90 minutes. And it even tells you what you need. Do you need paper and pens? Do you need dice, etc.? All the pages are perforated, so you can literally tear the page out, make copies of it if you so will, have everybody take pictures on their phone, which is my personal favorite way to do it. You can play this game, and it has all the setup, and it has the rules for playing, and how to end the game. So that's the first one. I found one in here about being lawn gnomes. There's another one.
I want to play that one.
There is another one about your kids on a summer vacation. One person is defending their treehouse and the other people are attacking the treehouse. There is.
Oh my.
There's another one where you are in you work in a supermarket and you are trying to one up your opponents. It's kind of like that guy in Superstore who's like trying to, this is a deep cut. There's a guy in Superstore who's trying to, get one up on the other new guy, and he's just everything he's doing is just trying to win. So it's that. So this is the Ultimate Micro RPG book. This game is also on Amazon. This is where I found it actually because it was not sent to me. Less than $20, 40 games, and they're meant to be kind of single play experiences, and they're meant to be for. A lot of them are meant to be games played by people who don't want to fully invest in playing Dungeons & Dragons, but are interested in that tabletop role-playing experience. Or if you're a Dungeons & Dragons party that just needs a break. This is a quick resource. You just flip through the page, tear it out, and go to town. For example, the Break Room game is complexity of 2 and plays up to 8 players, 2 out of 5. And you just need a D6 and a coin.
What?
Interesting.
And it's a comedy game. It's meant to be funny. And it's GM-less, which is even better.
I like that.
There's a whole bunch of stuff in here. Again,
that sounds a lot like Fiasco. Like, Fiasco is such a fun GM-less comedy game RPG. It's wonderful.
Yeah, that's what that kind of feels like, and that's a game that's in here. I actually, I know a guy who... we used to LARP with. I don't think, Linda, you ever met him, but he did a solo tabletop role-playing game that was a one-pager, and it was, you know what, I don't think he did it, but he showed it to me. It's called Plot Armor, and
Ooh, interesting.
You play through, and you basically are the main character in an anime, and so it presents you with a series of questions. And you have to go through these different scenarios, but what you have to do is kind of write. You're like journaling as this character, and the thing is that because you have plot armor, you can't die. Oh, Mega Mom's here.
Very
Hey, Mega Mom.
cool.
Welcome to the EFG
Interesting.
podcast. This is not the EFG show. I'm so used to seeing her name pop up and assuming it's the EFG show. This is not the EFG show. This is the Engaged Family Gaming podcast. So that's plot on. So this whole one-page RPG thing is super interesting for me. So that is the ultimate RPG, the ultimate micro RPG handbook. I will be reviewing this for the website over time. I think this might even be like a thing. Maybe we don't review it. Maybe we just talk about it on social whenever we play the game. I don't know. I'm still working on it.
I love that.
But I think this is just one of those
I
fun
want to play
things.
the Lawn Gnome one. So save that one
That
for
sounds
me
like fun.
I will
when
save
I
that.
come visit after I'm vaccinated.
Yeah, this is one of those ones that I suspect will sit on a shelf. We're going to talk about it, but I think this will sit on a shelf and get used again when we have more opportunities to play more games. Because you have to come up here just like I have to go down there.
That's true.
Excuse me. I can say with certainty, coming up here is great because Linda's husband can barbecue with the best of them.
It's true.
I'm pretty sure I've gained 10 pounds just because of his barbecue.
We do our best to at least have good food.
Yeah, exactly. So
Speaking of which, you got to put in your order for coming up soon.
Yeah, I know. We gotta talk about that. We do have to talk about that
have to talk
because we
about
got a
food.
sprint this weekend.
We do.
Oh man, but that's gonna be all right. We're gonna make it work. Okay. So I took your segue, Amanda, and I like to think I slam dunked it. You said I was gonna talk about.
did.
You said I was gonna talk about Dungeons and Dragons. I did, and then I talked about two other role-playing game pieces of content. So I'm gonna segue to you. This is not a professional segue, Amanda. Speaking of things I've never heard of before, you're going to talk about. That's not a professional segue. I don't do radio. You wanted to talk about a game called Sky Tier. Is it tier like crying tier or tier like layers of a cake?
No, it's tier like crying tier.
Oh, okay.
So, Sky Tier is a MOBA, but it's a board game. And so for Linda, because
Okay, yeah,
yes, please.
Linda doesn't play MOBAs and probably has no idea what a MOBA is. A MOBA is a multiplayer online battle arena where you have a number of lanes, that you have a number of heroes that are rushing through those lanes, and you have minions that you have to get rid of the minions and level up. And essentially what you need to do is you need to take down the other team's nexus through destroying their towers and destroying their home base.
Okay.
So that's what a MOBA looks like in a video game. So some classic examples of MOBAs would be League of Legends and Dota. So Defense of the Ancients. And Dota is number 2 these days. So those are what MOBAs look like.
I want to play this
Now,
game real bad. I just
Totally
found this on
fine.
the internet.
Yeah,
Right.
it's really an interesting game. I haven't decided if I liked it or not, but I'm gonna get into why.
Okay.
So Sky Tier takes the mechanics of a MOBA, and so that includes having lanes, that includes dealing with towers, with minions, dealing with the Nexus, and makes it a board game, which unfortunately introduces a lot of complexity. A MOBA is already a deeply complex mechanical game that is extremely strategic, usually takes anywhere between 45 minutes and an hour to play and score on a video game. Now put that in a board game, and we have a crunchy board game to play. So I don't want to get too deep into it because there are so many rules and there are so many different mechanics. What I will say is that the base game offers up a number of different heroes that are from a number of different factions. These models are beautiful. Like if you go check out Play Sky Tier right now and you look at some of those models that they have on the website, oh my gosh, these models, friends, they're gorgeous. Like even the minions are beautiful. They really, really are. So you have your control points. You have control point 1 and control point 2, and then you have the nexus. So control point 1 is a lane, control point 2 is a lane, and then the center of the map is where you get to take control of the game's monster. And that's new and different, kind of. In games like Heroes of the Storm, which is more of a hero brawler than a true MOBA, you can take control of different, giant monsters for a little while if you score really well as a team and you're working together really well, or you can go take on side missions to go and beat up monsters and stuff like that in order to level up your team and unlock ultimate abilities. So, like I said, the game itself is really, really crunchy, and I have played it twice, and I don't fully understand it yet, so I don't want to give a full review of it until I take more time with it and I am able to fully digest what in the actual heck I played.
Okay.
All I know is that taking the mechanics of a multiplayer online battle arena and putting it into a board game is a fascinating conceit, but I don't know if I like it. And it's also possibly because I don't really like MOBAs, so I might be the literal worst person to judge this.
I mean,
What kinds of questions do you all have? Because I feel like I can answer questions if you have them.
so it's 2 to 4 players is what it's saying. So it's
Two to
two to
four players. I
four.
only played it 2-player.
Okay. And then so you control 4 heroes, basically?
Yes.
That kind of deal?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you control 4 heroes apiece. And when you're playing 2-player, or if you're playing 4-player, one player plays with 2 and the other one plays with
Yeah.
1,
Okay.
I think. But yeah, that's essentially how that goes, is you take control of 4 hero characters if you're playing it one-on-one.
Okay.
Okay.
And
So I see on here. Oh,
no, you go ahead, Linda.
go ahead. You sure? All
Yep.
right. Because I'm looking at the site you told us to go to, and I'm looking. It says only 30 to 60 minutes.
It's
If
not.
it's, I was gonna say, if it's that crunchy, there's no way 30 minutes would be just the setup.
Well, the setup is really easy, though.
Is it actually easy?
The
Okay.
setup is actually very, very easy. There isn't too much to do. You just have to place your 4 characters. That's it. All you
Okay.
got to do to set the game up. Then you have the cards that you've already drafted and you've drawn by composing your team. Where Mike and I ran into a number of problems is we chose our heroes, but they didn't have any synergy between the different kinds of spells that they could cast. So, there are heroes that can cast a couple of different colors, so it's kind of like Magic, kind of like Magic the Gathering in that perspective, where you have, playing one color or playing a multitude of colors is, especially when you're new at Magic, is kind of a newbie choice. Don't play multitudes of colors unless you know what you're doing. So I made that mistake.
Good to know.
I made that mistake. So we didn't have great synergy, and it made playing the game really, really difficult. And it took us a really long time to get anywhere. And we ended up stagnating because one of the objectives that we had, in addition to, taking down the other person's towers, was to like push the right lane, and try to take down the right lane of our opponent's right lane. And we both were doing that, and we couldn't budge and we couldn't go anywhere. And we were both, yeah, we were both very stubborn. So
What?
obviously, yeah,
Stubborn.
no one saw that coming.
I did not. I don't believe it. I don't believe that at all. Listen, I think someone was gonna make a MOBA board game. Like someone was going to do it. It was just inevitable. Um, I'm pretty sure that there have been some other, some other applications. The way you choose your hero, you draft them, right? Like, you just, all right.
So you can draft them, or you can sit down and be like, okay, well, I want to play this color, or depends on how many people you're playing with. If you're playing with 4 people, then drafting is necessary.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So,
I think
so we've only played it 2 players,
cool.
so I don't know. I think I'd want to play this game with 4 players, to be honest. I think that would make it go faster, strangely. Because it would mean that you're hitting harder faster, instead of one person having control over all the characters. You have like 4 people having control of a bunch of the characters. So, it could be cool. It could be also completely bananas, but I'm very excited to find out whether or not I actually like this game.
Well, I can't wait to find out.
Yet.
I can't wait to find out whether you do or not. I mean, I certainly like some of the character
Leaving on a
designs.
cliffhanger.
Yeah, leaving
Leaving
on
on
a
a
cliffhanger.
True.
We're gonna have to
You're
find
gonna have to follow up.
out. We are.
We are gonna have to follow up. Would you all mind if I surprised you with one other game that I
I would
played?
not mind.
Ooh.
I would. I love surprises. That's a lie, but
So,
I am. But I do. I am interested
but
to
you
hear what you
do
have to
roll
say.
with the punches. You
I
roll with
do.
the punches quite well. Yeah. It's a couple of years podcasting with me where you're just like, who knows what Amanda's gonna say? Uh. We ended up playing Marvel Villainous when
Oh.
we went away. I don't know if we've talked about Marvel Villainous on the
We
show
have not.
before. We've definitely talked about Villainous because I've talked about Villainous. I want to talk about the Marvel flavor. It was so cool. It was so cool. I was playing as Hela, Hela, Hela,
Hella.
not Hera. I had to think about that one for a second. I was playing as Hela, and she was so difficult to play as, but she was such a badass. She had so like her whole conceit is trying to like mark other heroes and dominate and possess them, and it was really really neat. She was all about influence, and Mike ended up playing as Ultron and steamrolled me, like absolutely steamrolled me. Like if you're not familiar with Villainous, with Disney's Villainous, it is essentially a solitary game until you start introducing some fate cards. And then you can start like essentially attacking the other player and, screwing up their turn so that they can't get to their secret, not so secret objective. And Ultron's secret objective was to build stuff. And I was not able to prevent him from building the things. So he steamrolled me very quickly because I was too busy trying to beat up characters and make room and try to dominate. And it was just everything ended up being very bad. But it was so much fun. Marvel's Villainous was an absolute blast. So if you enjoy Disney's Villainous and you're like, listen, I need to stop playing as these fairy tale bad guys, Ultron. That's all I'm gonna
All
say.
right.
Is Ultron.
See,
That's the
I can totally
pitch.
see that. Yeah. No, that
That's
sounds
the pitch.
perfect. We haven't gotten Villainous yet because my family's not into the Disney that same way.
Marvel.
This is gonna, yeah, this is coming in. It may have been in my cart yesterday. I think that I'm gonna hit buy. It's time.
And then I'm really excited to know what your family thinks of it. Because, like, I
Yeah.
only really play Villainous with the adults because the little ones are like, this is so much. We don't have
Mhm.
the attention span for this. But yeah, Ultron.
Yeah.
Ultron.
It's not the first time I've
Definitely.
heard that with Villainous. Is that it? Look, younger kids. It's not right for them. This is one of those like
No.
the content and the topic is right there,
Oh,
but
yeah, absolutely. But it's
the
for older kids.
yeah,
Right.
that is not the target audience for that one.
Yeah, definitely. Like, we played Disney Villainous with my mother-in-law, and it was awesome. She was so good. She was playing as Ursula. She kicked our butts. But it was really really cool to sit down and like have a completely different perspective on, have a different twist on the villainous mechanics, I
Sure.
suppose. But yeah, you should definitely check it out if you are not a Disney family, which is cool. It's fine. It's good.
Yeah. Well, it's not that we're not Disney. We're just not like, I don't know, the ones that they're based on for the Villainous, it's not going to capture them. Like they haven't
They're older.
they're the older ones and they're
They're
not into it. They're
Yeah.
just not. And that's okay.
Because old stuff is boring, Mom.
Well, of course.
Of
Yeah.
course. Unless you're my kids, apparently, and you just really enjoy old things. So,
I
Right.
mean, what are you gonna do? The It doesn't surprise me actually, knowing your kids as I do, that they would appreciate the kind of the retro stuff. So there you go. That you snuck another game in there talking about Marvel
I
Villainous.
did.
Perfect.
Wahaha.
Perfect for us. Looking forward to hearing Linda's impressions when she has it in her home.
Yep.
And thank you for the link.
No problem. You can pick that up actually today. either on Amazon or you can go to
Mhm.
Target as well, because Target carries the entire Villainous line.
Yep, they do.
So, for anyone watching right now, Villainous is part of a buy 3 for the price of 2 deal on Amazon.
Yep.
So, yeah, that may be helping.
I mean,
I like it.
It can't
It can't hurt.
With that said,
Can't hurt.
with that said, if you're gonna buy it, use the link I just shared because it's an affiliate link. Full disclosure, but we're like wrestling with links. But
We are.
but
They're
that's all right.
everywhere.
Oh
Can't
my
stop
God,
them.
we're machines. Hey guys, what do you think about our newest podcast segment that we still have to do, even though we're live on Twitch?
I'm actually excited. I've been thinking about like different words that might work for different parts of speech.
There we go.
I am just going to sit here and I am going to marvel. Get it? Because we just talked about Marvel Villainous.
Oh, goodness. You have to participate. You have to participate. You
Well,
can't.
I'm here. I mean, utilize my brain, but also I defer to the mistress of magnificence, whom I never get to see anymore. So I am perfectly fine to just sit here and cheer Linda on.
Oh
Well,
boy.
we're also I'm also going to involve the chat as well. So everybody watching, this is later. I would like a type of liquid and a part of the body. So if you want to throw those into the chat. So as we've talked about before, I cannot. I don't know. We're still not sure if we can say what these things are. I haven't checked with our lawyers because that's expensive. However, you'll know what we're doing within seconds of me starting it. So, what we're gonna do? Oh, we got Mega Mom already hopping into the chat, helping us out. So I am going to the next one. Mega Mom is a part of the body, so we'll need that for later on. I was gonna give the chat time. So, Linda, I would like a letter of the alphabet, please.
Why?
I'm sure because you get asked that a lot.
Nope.
Because it's necromantic.
Because the letter Y is 100% necromantic. There's a story behind that.
That's a story
that's a large story
ago.
from a long, long time ago. We'll stick that later.
I mean, damn. I'm gonna.
No, we'll tell you.
Down,
yeah, that's a story for afterwards. And Megamom will remember that. Then I need an adjective. Amanda.
Of course, you have to give that to me. An adjective, which means I need to describe something in a way. I'm stalling for time because I'm live on the internet and I have to think.
That story is legend. It's 19 years old. Go ahead.
Let's say wiry.
Wiry, okay. And don't worry, the audio version is still going to get edited. So, let's see here. So, then I would like a noun.
Thread. I'm cheating. I'm just using things I can see from my seat.
Listen, it works. I would like.
What do you think I'm doing?
She said it. She said a toe for a part of the body, and I would like a noun, Linda.
Another one because I gave you thread.
I
you
would
need
like
another one? Ribbon.
Because you're sitting in your craft room.
Because I'm sitting in my game room, which also holds all my craft stuff and sewing things, and it's our catch-all room of stuff.
I love it. Multi-purpose room.
Amanda, I would like a noun from you.
Button.
I would like a verb, please. One of you. Man, Linda's window has a mind of its own.
It does. I don't know what's going on.
It's really upset. It's upset.
I'm sorry.
You keep clicking around.
How about jumping as our verb, or jump if you need it in the just
we'll
base
go with
word.
Jump. I'm gonna go with jump. Amanda, I'd like a number.
17. For my eldest.
And then a place.
Wow.
I need a place.
Place. The playground.
Mars for the place.
Oh, Mars. I like that one
All
with
right,
the
we'll go
rover.
with Mars. We'll go with Mars from
And it's buttons and
my.
toes.
And then I would like another part of the body.
Elbow.
Okay. And a place plural.
Grocery stores.
Okay.
I was gonna say sand dunes.
I'm cool with
Ooh,
grocery
I like that
stores.
better.
Nope, you can't change it because I wrote in pen.
grocery
Man.
grocery stores win.
I would like an adjective. I would like 2 adjectives actually.
How about ferocious and conniving?
Ooh.
Clearly,
Okay.
Mama's been writing a little.
And then I would
Clearly.
like
Good for
an
you.
animal. And then we already have the liquid, which was honey.
I have an animal.
Yep.
Peacock.
Do it.
A peacock.
Ooh, I like
Peacock,
that.
Like
A Martian peacock. I was gonna say wombat, so that's good.
Peacock, like
I
the
like
streaming
that.
service that all the wrestling stuff is on now.
No, peacock like the little stuffy that's sitting
I
over
know.
there.
I know. I was just being silly. How crazy is that, by the way? WWE Network is now on the NBC streaming app. How
Wow.
crazy is that? Excuse me. Plural noun, please.
Scissors.
I have one for plural.
Okay.
Linda's way faster than I am.
I'm sorry. I have to think on my feet all day and come up with random stuff.
No, that's amazing. I'm so glad you do it, and so that I
Okay.
don't do it.
So, Amanda, the last 2. Amanda, I would like a noun from you. Linda, I would
Mhm.
like an adjective from you. And then
Okay.
I do my voice acting.
Awesome. My adjective is bubbly.
Okay. And Amanda?
And my noun is key.
Key. All right. Let me take a drink, actually. Goodness. All right.
You got to get prepped. You got
I
to
do.
be vocally limber.
So, as part of our word fill-in puzzle, the first part is I torment my guests and make them come up with words. The other piece is that I read this in my very best voice acting impersonation. This is like my audition for reading ad copy. Let's see what I can do. The fill-in puzzle theme is Tools of the Table. Now, this is from our Dungeons & Dragons officially licensed word fill-in puzzle book. So this is Dungeons & Dragons themed because it's board game week. So, when you first start playing Y and D, you'll need these wiry things to help hit the thread running. The Player's Toebook, the Ribbon Master's Guide, Button Manual, and other books also have lots of useful information. Dice. You'll need more dice than you can jump a stick at, but especially D20s. Number 17, pencils. Leave your pens in Mars. You won't need them here. Snacks are the elbow of every good game of Grocery Stores and Dragons. Hungry players are ferocious, but a conniving DM can be an absolute peacock. Don't forget to drink plenty of honey and get diabetes. Mats and figurines are useful for visualizing action-packed scissors. With these things and a bubbly attitude, you're ready for the time of your key. And that, my friend, is our word fill-in puzzle. These just keep getting better. I kind of like being able to do this live and involve the chat, because that certainly relieves some of the stress off you guys. So, to tell the story, because why not take, a trip down memory lane, this legendary story, 19 years old, about the necromantic letter Y. So, everybody that listens to this knows that I LARP. And my character who I've been playing for the entire time, which is not super common, but whatever. He was an illiterate potato farmer when he started adventuring. And the main reason I was illiterate is because you had to spend experience points to be able to read, and I weren't going to do that. So I was taught to read in game, and I was taught to read by an orc who was a knight, or was going to be a knight. And so he taught me, and keeping in mind that I was a simple potato farmer, that the letter Y was necromantic. And really it was meant as a joke out of game, but I bought into it. And so not only did I learn to read and write, but I then, within a matter of a few events, became the baronial scribe, which meant I had
that's how.
because of course I did.
Of course.
And so I learned how to read and write, and the first job I had was writing proclamations for our baroness. And so when I wrote stuff, I would refuse to use the letter Y. And so I wrote in character on our message boards with no Y's, and it was very bad to try and piece it together. People eventually learned what I was saying, but then eventually I took over the town newspaper, and so the official newspaper was written by a guy who refused to use the letter Y. And that went on for I think that bit lasted like a year, I think. Maybe
that
2.
did, but the joke sustained.
Oh, the joke will never go away.
The joke sustained. I remember skits with it in as part of fair,
for tournament.
The tournaments and all kinds of nonsense that persevered for quite a while after, and that you had learned that it was okay to use the letter Y.
Yeah, I learned. Also, I became less afraid of things. Because when you fight dragons, what's the problem with a letter? So that is why the letter Y. We still laugh, those of us who've been around for that long, whenever the letter Y comes up. So that was our word fill-in puzzle for the week. Thank you very much for everybody watching and participating. We're going to do that every week. Yeah, exactly. The fact that Y was in so many different things really made it super annoying to write. The good news is this was 20 years ago, before autocorrect was ubiquitous. So, now it would be impossible, right? Like, I would never be able to, it would have been bad. So, and Megamom is giving some additional background in the chat that there were 2 orcs that were squires, and one squire was the guy who taught me. The other squire reinforced it, and it kept going. And here's my son in here choosing violence, posting Y in the chat. Can we get a Y in the chat? Is that kind of like getting an F in the chat? No, it's the equivalent of an F in the chat. Can we get a Y in the chat? Anyway, so that is our word fill-in puzzle. That is our incredibly dorky LARP history for the day.
That's pretty good.
That kind of is like a wow. Look at that. We're getting Y's in the chat. We have our own. We made a meme out of Y's in the chat.
We memed. We didn't just meme. We memed live.
I know, we memed live. I guess we're gonna.
We're gonna make it.
I guess we're gonna need to have T-shirts. Can we get a Y in the chat? We'll see if we remember next week. Okay.
I'll write it down.
So that is our. Man, next video game week next week is going to be so busy. Guess what we're not talking about, Amanda? We're not talking about that game. We're not doing it.
No.
We'll talk about farming games or something nice and light.
I think it's a better idea.
Yeah, we don't.
I already talked about that game on Dual Daddies because hello, call me Daddy.
No, I won't.
And it was a lot.
We're good. So let's get right to it and talk about our actual topic, because we are cruising through our chosen topic. So, Linda, you are probably the most prolific content creator as part of the Engaged Family Gaming team. I do our podcasting stuff, so I'm like our host. But when it comes down to the written word, you are the prolific one. And so one of the things that you do is you create and maintain lists of board games that are suggestions for games. And so we're going to start kind of threading, going through those, in the podcast, if for nothing else, just to kind of surface those articles, but also to give us an opportunity to kind of talk through editing them in case there's stuff we want to add. So the one we chose for today is board game recommendations for ages 8 and up. And now 8 and up is not usually where they divide games. Normally it's 10 and up or 13 and up if they're trying to not have to get it licensed as a toy. Why did you chose this? This was 100% you.
I did.
Because you're the child development expert between the three of us. Why did you choose 8 and up?
Well, the reason I started with 8 is I was intending to do and then a 10 and a 12, which may yet still come, but 8's really a turning point because this is where more gamery games come into play, literally. You have more games coming in that are now there are ones that you might have people that don't have children talking about. These now have more elements to them, more components, more rules, maybe a couple different play styles. It might be a cooperative, but maybe there's hand management, maybe there's other components and other ways of playing. So it really, looking across games and looking at the age recommendations, seems to be kind of the next step. And what changes at age 8 is reading proficiency.
Yep.
Up until age 8, children are learning to read. And of course, it depends kid to kid. We have some 5-year-olds that are proficient readers, but that's the exception. If you look at the average reader, what is expected on the average for children, an average 8-year-old is now becoming more proficient. They can read to learn, not learn to read. That's sort of the education kind of way we look at it. And so in games, now you can have cards with more text. You can have rules that become more complicated. They can just handle more. Around age 8, you're hitting usually around 3rd grade. And a lot of things shift for kids at that age. You're not in the primary grades the same way. You're really moving into intermediate. So it's just a big shift, in their cognitive development and in their, just kind of who they are as a player.
Okay.
So it's really a great turning point. So that's where the focus came in. You don't see quite the same shift if you look at games 10 and up and 12 and up. Obviously, then 13 becomes a little interesting because some of those games are then are they trying not to be a toy? And some of those games can scale down. So then you kind of get into this whole other ball of wax.
Yeah, Amanda,
Right.
you and I have dealt with this before, and this is something that, when we started dealing with Kickstarters and stuff like that, we kept seeing 13 plus. And back in the day when we would interview creators, we would talk about so why is this game, why is it what it is? And a lot of them would be like, well, we're rating it 13 plus because if we have to rate it lower, if we try and make it 8 up, 6 up, which is probably what it might be, we'd have to call it a toy and then we have to pay to have it. It's like this big extra cost.
Safety check.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's kind of like video games where, if you want to be on the Switch, you have to go through the ESRB, which is not a small cost. Now, admittedly, that's kind of baked in. It's part of the deal if you if you're making a console game, but board games, they have this way of kind of sidestepping it, and it is not uncommon. That's something that Linda has had to, as our chief board game officer, and you deal with a lot of the Kickstarter pitches. You've had to make that call yourself, which is where your skill and knowledge as child development expert and especially like reading specialist, just by looking at some of these games, this is probably not for a 13-year-old. Probably an 8-year-old could rock this game.
I like that it works in a direction, though, that the ESRB can sometimes not work out. So if the ESRB goes sideways, we end up with a game like Final Fantasy VII Remake, which was a soft M, not a hard T.
Yeah.
Whereas in this case, this is going to protect children no matter what.
Yeah.
It means things get miscategorized, but that's where folks like us come in.
Yep.
Doing the testing and doing the actual categorization ourselves, and why we have a Linda. Among many other reasons.
And one
thing I did not do in this article, now granted, I put this together, I was trying to find a date on
this
it.
Is
I
from
want to
2018.
say this is 2018. So a lot's changed in just my knowledge and kind of how I've approached presenting games. So this article specifically in its current version at this moment is the games are rated on their box 8 and up. I didn't include a subcategory of these can be handled by age 8 and up, but the box says something different.
Right.
I think that may be something to put in a future version.
We do have a content sprint coming up.
We do. This is going on the list.
So, what I thought we would do, all three of us have a copy of this list. So this is all stuff that Linda chose back in 2018. So this is dated. There's some newer stuff. However, a lot of these are new classics that are absolutely worth talking about. So what I thought the three of us would do is just kind of choose through some of these and, you know, talk about them, share some of our experiences and recommendations, and then we can kind of go from there. I'm going to go first because I'm going to talk about the one that I want to talk about, and then this way neither of you can steal it, and we're going to have what we call a board game draft. I'm just going to say that I want to talk about Ticket to Ride, and I'm going to do it because I'm going to get it out of the way. Ticket to Ride is the first board game. It is the starting point. It is the right decision. Ticket to Ride is so great. It's a 2 to 5 player game with a inoffensive theme. And when I say inoffensive, what I really mean here is like the theme is just it's trains. Like nobody hates trains, right?
Train
like,
hype.
Famously, the general does not like space stuff. She's going to have a really rough May when Mass Effect comes into this house.
I was about to say, I'm like, May's going to be tough in your household.
May, she does not like the space stuff. So immediately, if a game comes in that is like, you know, I can't even think of a space, you know, there's plenty of space games that come into the house, she's immediately on the defensive of being like, I'll play this because I love you and because it's for work. But like, ew. But trains,
ew.
Like, ew. Oh my god, ew. And she really hates space games. It's just what it is, right? Like, what are you gonna do? She's more of a fantasy gal. You know, she doesn't like Star Trek or Star Wars, that stuff, but she loves her. You know, if it was a Dragon Age month, she'd be all in on that, right? So, so Final Fantasy VII is like a weird thing for her. Because it's got space stuff, basically. So, Ticket to Ride, being that it's about choo-choo trains, like, I have never met someone who legit hates choo-choo trains. And so, this is, and it really does set the stage for all sorts of other games. And so, for me, I think this is the perfect first game. And so, I wanted to just lead right out and being like, you know what? If you've listened to our podcast before, you know that I'm going to talk about it. And so I'm just going to knock it out. Ticket to Ride is one of the best games ever. And it was the first game in my collection, and I truthfully believe that it should be the first game in just about everybody else's. That's it.
And there's a reason that's number one on our essentials list, too. This game ends up on a ton of the lists because of the caliber that it is. It's just, it fits so many boxes. It gives you so many different skills that you learn in this game in a simple way.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amanda, why don't you go next? Because I know Linda has played all of these because she made
almost.
You know what's really interesting? I have played the vast majority of the games on this list.
Sure. Okay. Well,
believe it or not.
Okay.
I actually have. So I am actually good to talk about almost anything on this list. But I want to talk about Go Nuts for Donuts.
Nice.
Because Go Nuts for Donuts combines two of my most favorite things, card drafting and donuts. It's really hard. Also, side notes, it's very difficult to find like good donuts on the East Coast. It's very strange. I don't like it. It's like the only thing that you guys can't do well. It's like you do bagels very well. Pizza's great, but not donuts.
Interesting. I didn't know that was a deficiency.
I didn't either, and then I moved here, and I'm missing the West Coast donuts. Anyway, so I get my donut fill whenever I play Go Nuts for Donuts with the kids. So Go Nuts for Donuts, as I said, is a card drafting game, and it's all about set collections. So you can play it with 2 players, which is normally what we do because I have children that fight a lot. And by fight, I mean gently bicker with each other, but it is enough to make me want to claw my brain. Flames coming out of the side of my face, essentially. I'm like it's Clue up in here. So we usually play with 2 players, maybe 3 if we're feeling really rowdy. Then what you got to do is you have to collect the best donuts, right? And the donuts all have different they have different score values based on how many that you have, based on how few you have in some instances. So you have to be very savvy and shrewd about what you're collecting and how you're collecting them. And it's all about drafting. So you like pick your donut and then you got to pass things over. You got to pass it to the next player. And away you go. So there is So the other thing that I like about it is that it's like it teaches kids how to bid and be really smart about bidding. Like, I kind of want this one. I kind of want it. So I'm going to kind of hedge my bets. And then you get the kids that are just like, yeah, throwing all the chips on the table, like traditional poker nonsense, but like not with children, because you would play that with like jelly beans. So all the jelly beans are on the table, all the sprinkles are on the table, and like the kids just go for it. Let me tell you, that's Vivian. That's how she plays Go Nuts for donuts. She's just like, I want everything. I don't know what your problem is, but I want it all. And we're like, no, that's not how you win. That's the opposite of what you need to do.
You got to be careful and selective with it. Got to be
careful and selective. It is really, really interesting. So, depending on the kinds of donuts that you go bid on and that you receive, you can either take an action or you just put it into your set. And it's really cool because it teaches kids to, like I said, hedge your bets and be shrewd about what choices that you're making. It also teaches children about opportunity cost, which is excellent. I talk about opportunity cost a lot as a business journalist. So, getting business speak into my times as a parent is always good. I'm like, listen, children, I'm going to tell you about opportunity cost. And they're like, Mom, why are you businessing again?
Nerd.
So anyway, you already know this. Everyone knows I'm a big nerd. So anyway, game ends, and whoever has the most points wins.
Simple and easy. Yeah.
Simple and easy, and also donuts.
And donuts.
I mean,
and donuts.
It's true.
Who doesn't like donuts? I like
Everybody
donuts.
loves donuts.
Absolutely.
I miss donuts.
All right, so Linda, what do you got?
Yeah. I got photosynthesis.
I know you do.
So
tell me everything about this game.
Oh my goodness.
Tell me everything, because I purchased this game for
Oh.
my husband for Christmas and we still haven't played it. So tell me.
So I have to say, this has only come to the table a couple times, but like I long for the day that the gaming group comes back together so I can play this again, because unfortunately nobody in my house wants to play this with me. They're all sticking the mud. Yeah. It's just the wrong flavor. I mean, I might be able to convince one of them, maybe, but yeah. But so it is a 2 to 4 player game, so I can convince one person I'll be good. It's only about a 45-minute game. It took us, I think, an hour and 15 the first time to play because nobody had any idea. So there is a little bit of a learning curve, but it's only 8 and up. So it's really just, once you figure it out, it makes perfect sense. You go through the rounds. The idea is the sun moves around the board, and there literally is a cardboard sun that moves around the board. And it's got little notches so you know exactly where to place it, which I like. It's nice and neat. Mm-hmm. And you go around and there's different little tree figures. So that's the thing. You have to set up the little trees. You have to assemble them because they are 3-dimensional. There's small trees, medium, and large trees. And the idea is you spend light points. So you get light points as the sun moves, and you spend those to grow your trees and eventually to cut down the trees, and you get points. That's when you get more points, and you're trying to collect the most trees. And each player has a different color tree. So there's 4 colors. It's beautiful to play. It looks gorgeous on the table. It's got the science theme. And it's really fun. So you have the grow phase, the photosynthesis phase, and then the life cycle phase. Life cycle phase. It's been a long day. Sorry.
You know what? It's the same thing. It's mostly interchangeable because we're talking about photosynthesis.
That's true. That's true. And what's really cool, and we found that we did this kind of as a whole group, you have to look at where the sun is and then look at what tree is casting shadows. So what trees are going to get the light and what are stuck in the shadows. And so we actually would go on each, when we were counting the light, looking at which trees were getting light and which were in shadow, we would just kind of go around the board and kind of all agree so that there was no confusion. Mm-hmm. And that worked really well for our group. And the game ends when the sun makes 3 complete revolutions around the board, and then you count your points based on the scoring tokens, your late points you haven't cashed in yet, and that's it. And it's just a really fun game, a pleasure just to have on the table and see. There's actually a Moon expansion that has come out that is kind of on my wish list.
Really?
And so it adds some other elements. I haven't played it. I just saw it and I'm like, oh, I want to look at that.
Hold on to that one for when I come over to play games. I love this
Okay.
idea.
Oh,
I'm
it looks
into
so
it.
cool. Yeah. I mean, it's just, it checks all these boxes. The only downside, I think, it's got the science theme, but it's just a matter of it connecting with the right player because it's very specific. It's a beautiful game, but sometimes the kids aren't into gorgeous things, like my
No,
boys
they're
like,
really not.
gross, stinky things because they're boys.
So you mean I
But
shouldn't bring Everdell over to play with them?
No,
I
they
mean,
might
you
like
can
that
bring it
'cause
over.
they might like that because it's got like woodland creatures in it.
It's true. It does have an abundance of woodland
It's true.
creatures.
And honestly, they might just try it because it's something cool and you brought it and you're amazing.
Oh,
They
I
may
just need
try
to get
that.
vaccinated so I come see you all.
Man, wouldn't it be nice when things are all better? So we're getting there.
When the
Hopefully
Fire
soon.
Nation isn't attacking,
When the
you
Fire
mean?
Nation goes the heck home. Come on.
It's true.
Leave us alone. We just want to
It's
play
We're
true.
done.
board
Here's
games.
it's just like this is my permanent emotion right now is being Burn Bay. Just I don't
Oh
like
man,
it.
you're just taking advantage of your subscription to her channel so that you can use those emotes just like crazy.
I love Burn Bay.
Burn Bay is
Burn
really
Bay is
funny.
the best.
Anyway, so I do appreciate that. Don't use her other emotes though.
No, those are not appropriate. Those are not appropriate. Big chaotic energy is
Yeah, big
appropriate,
chaotic energy,
but no.
super appropriate. She's got some other ones. Anyway, all right, I'll go next, and we'll do one more each. And
Okay.
then we will call it a day. Well, listen, I'm just gonna go with another one of my favorites because why not? I am going to talk about Sushi Go.
Nice.
Sushi Go is
Yes.
actually on this list twice because it's Sushi
It
Go and
is.
It
Sushi
is.
Go Party and so ultimately it just comes down to Party is just it's in a bigger box and it has more options. But it's not a different game. It just has, some extra bells and whistles. It's also more than twice the price. Like if you're looking for something that's simple, you can throw it in a purse, even put it in your back pocket if you're a guy and they let you have pockets. I recognize my privilege. Sushi Go is super small, super simple. It is the introduction to card drafting. And that's another one of the reasons I really like this game is that um, the art is cute and also inoffensive because who doesn't like cute food, right? Like it's just funny. You know what it looks like? It looks like sushi if it was a background character in Blue's Clues. Like
It really is that
It's
cute.
so true. They remind me of salt, pepper, and paprika.
exactly.
Oh my goodness, I never made that connection before. That's amazing.
And this is, for $9 on Amazon, which is, where you can get it. And you can also get it at Target. I think it's even at Walmart. Like this is widely available. Also,
It's at
I would
Kohl's
be,
now too.
It will in fact make you want to eat sushi. That is facts. If you like
True.
sushi, it is. This is a. They call it a pick and pass card game, but like whatever, guys. That's drafting. This is the game that I would soon, if I were going to a place to teach a bunch of games, I would actually play a game of Sushi Go to teach drafting rather than explain drafting.
I mean,
And that's because it's
And it
that
would take
simple.
less time.
It'll take less time, and you get a game out of it. It is, it's adorable. I can't say enough about it. This is one of those games. And I think the reason you put this on here is that, isn't this right around that age where they're going to start kind of understanding that depth of play, and they're not just
Exactly.
so. And that's what's so great about this. This can even be played by kids younger because there's not a lot of symbols and there's not a
It's
lot of
true.
reading in this. But
Vivi started playing this at like age 4, age 5, I think.
Yeah.
She was pre-reading.
yeah,
Right, because you don't have to read the cards necessarily. You can just pick and pass. You may not pick the best cards if you don't know
She
what they're
memorized
going to do.
them.
But that's the thing. You got those little smarties that will just remember if you tell them. which is
Exactly.
amazing.
And the games are also fast, which is another reason why I really like
Oh yeah.
this.
Right.
One of the things we used to do is we used to go to, funny story about this one is we used to go to schools and do game right fundraisers. And so I would bring some of our members of the staff and we would go. And I brought my brother to one. And we were trying to figure out what game he was going to do. And we settled on Sushi Go because my brother plays Magic a lot. And we were like, you know what, dude? You can teach people how to draft cards. And he did. And he
Okay.
literally spent, what was it, like 3 hours? Because I think was it at your school, Linda? Or was it,
No, he didn't come to my. I don't think he came to my school.
it was the school he went
It must have
to?
been right.
I forget which one it was, but the school
I
he went
think it
to,
was for. It must have been for your kiddos.
yeah, he spent like 4 hours, no joke,
Jeez.
just teaching people how to draft. And he was in
Wow.
his glory. Okay.
I
Um,
bet.
and so I'll never have anything but positive memories with Sushi Go. And Sushi Go Party is it's just a bigger box, and what you can do is you can
Right.
choose from a menu what cards go into the stack to draft from. So if there's certain
Mhm.
mechanics you don't like, you can just get rid of them and replace them with something else. That's all. So that's Sushi
Right.
Go. I love this thing. It's under $10 no matter where you go. I
No,
mean,
it's such a good bargain.
yeah,
And I think the next thing to put on this is just sushi roll, the newest one,
yeah,
because
Right. Yes.
that one is so good.
yep,
They're all
They
such
are.
excellent games.
Game Right does
They
such a
really,
great
really
job with
are.
their stuff.
they
Yeah,
really do.
absolutely. I think when we go to update this eventually, we need to put Trash Panda on here because Trash Panda is
Yes.
so good.
Um,
Uh,
yeah,
okay.
you're up next, Amanda.
Is it my turn?
It is your turn.
Okay. Okay, it's my turn. So I'm going to talk about Azul. Now,
Nice.
this is not a game that I've played with my children, but this is a game that I absolutely adore. It's also a game I play on my phone a lot because there is a digital version of Azul that is just like, it makes me so happy. Like, so happy. So here's the deal. Azul is actually an abstract game. Is it Azul that I play? No, it's Sagrada that I play like nonstop on my phone. But I have played a significant amount of
Sagrada
Azul.
sounds great on a phone.
Sagrada is so good on a phone. Like there are no words for how good it is on digital. So Azul is this abstract game, right? Where you are looking to build out these pretty little pieces of art, essentially. And it is noteworthy. I love that you have on here that it won the 2018 Spiel des Jahres. It is such an important measure of whether or not a game is going to be family friendly or not, is winning that Spiel des Jahres. Like
It's
if
true.
you are not familiar with that, my suggestion is you go look it up, and it is just like it's so interesting, and it's great as a foundation to better fill out your board game collection with games that are just exceptional. So what you end up doing is you've got like these factory tiles, right? And you have to like dump a bunch of these tiles on it, and you're drafting. This is another thing. This is another drafting game. This is a drafting game that's very very much so based on color, and it is based on the tiles that you pick and you pull for your specific game. It's interesting because it, again, much like Marvel Villainous and Villainous in general, it's a very solitary game that can go really really sideways if it turns out that your opponents are they're working towards similar goals using similar tiles. So the selected tiles go into like these pattern lines, right? And you have to make sure that you're not repeating them. And there are all of these different kinds of micro, like there are these different things to keep in mind when you're starting to formulate your strategy and you're starting to draft those tiles out. Like, oh my goodness, I took too many of this tile, because you do get punished at the end of the round if you have too many tiles that you just simply couldn't place. So I won't go into like all of the different rules in order to play something like Azul, but I want to go into like the way the game feels to play. It really does feel like you're sitting down and you're painting. You're painting this beautiful abstract painting or this beautiful abstract canvas of any kind, and it really feels so good to play this game. It's so relaxing. It is something that I really enjoy doing with my partners because it's like everything's a lot all the time, and it's a really great way for us to connect and like poke fun at each other and being like, oh my goodness, how can't believe that you took those tiles, I wanted those tiles, and fake tears ensue. Things like that. You're just like fake tears forever. Just like you ruined everything. Everything. So in order to win the game ends when one or more players have completed a row by the scoring round. So yeah, Azul is gorgeous and relaxing and tactical and another shrewd drafting game. I love drafting games.
Clearly.
I didn't know that. I didn't know. I thought I loved engine building games. It turns out I love drafting games too. I'll keep that in mind.
It's
Yep.
true. We learn so much about our preferences with the games we kind of gravitate to. We
It's
really
true.
do.
Absolutely. It's awesome. Anyway, I
Yeah.
love Azul. I just love it.
All right, Linda,
So good.
bring us
All right.
home.
Close it out. All right,
Close
so
it
I'm
out.
gonna close it out with another Spiel des Jahres winner, King Domino.
Yes. King Domino is so
Good
good. I
choice.
almost
Oh.
chose that one.
It's such a good one. And this is one, again, it's 8 and up, but it does scale down. I was having Eli play it when he was probably about 6. It's one that we've taken up to camp and played with the extended family. It's one that's it's very versatile because it's a solid game. It has really great gameplay. It's got more drafting, tile drafting, but you're also laying them out and trying to build these areas in your kingdom that are adjacent and all the same kind of land. So you're trying to do that. And the goal is to have the largest continuous terrain to earn more points. And it's quick to play, easy to teach. It ages down. I mean, it really is such a great family game. And the theme is very friendly, which is always a bonus.
Yep.
Having these like easy, like basically it's a theme almost anyone can feel comfortable with because it's just different areas of land.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very, kind of easy to be comfortable with. So it's just one that we've pulled it out a ton. I think it's funny. The first time it got played in my house was when we had a game night back in the dark ages and the before times. And it
Those
was
weren't
another,
the dark ages. Those were the fun ages.
they
Those
were the fun
beautiful
ages.
times.
Well, I'm saying the dark ages isn't so long ago.
Oh, got
yes,
it.
it was so long ago. It's like being in the dark ages. Yes.
I get it.
Yes. My reference was poor. Sorry.
It's okay.
Well, I remember bringing it to your house, and I think I taught.
You brought it to my house.
I think
did.
I
I remember you
taught
taught
like 10 people how to play that game.
You
over
taught
the
a bunch
course
of
the day.
people. Yep. And then the first time it got played at our house, another time, I guess, that somebody else took it out of the shrink for us. And they asked permission. They were so sweet. They're like, it's still in the shrink wrap. Can we play it?
Yeah, because
love
I
it.
remember I brought it, played it, and you bought it there, like while we were going it. Didn't you buy it on Amazon like right away? I seem to
Probably.
remember. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. I don't remember doing that, but that sounds about right.
We at least talked about it. Yeah, this is just one of those like, it's such a great game. It's so good.
It really is.
This is one of those games that I try and give away as gifts all the time. Like when
Right.
I'm at grab bags and stuff like that because it's so fun and so easy. So yeah. Listen, we had a pretty good list here, guys.
We do have a
We
pretty good
really
list. I definitely see things that are missing from here. I'm looking forward to revisiting this because so much has come out since 2018.
Well,
so much has come out. And obviously everything's not going on here, but to be able to pick out some of the best things to put on there I'm just looking forward to that revisit. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we did it, guys.
We
That
did.
was really fun.
Our
That was
first-
really fun.
Our first ever and first of many
Yes.
Engaged Family Gaming podcasts recorded live here on twitch.tv/Engaged Family Gaming. We did it. What is up, Six Pack Nerds in the chat? That is John, the official John.
Nice.
Welcome. He's so glad he doesn't have to edit this. He's like, wow. He's like, all I got to do is show up. I don't got to do stuff. Although he did do some editing because he just Facebook messaged me to let me know that all of the buttons in my profile are old and busted, so I got to fix them all. Whatever, guys. I'm new. Everybody who came, thank you so much for joining us. This is exactly what we were hoping for in our first ever night recording, and we're going to be back. So here's the schedule moving forward. I'm here on twitch.tv/Engaged Family Gaming at least 3 nights a week. Monday it's WoW. Tuesday it's this. We'll be back next week for video game week. So Linda will have the week off unless she's really excited to talk about Story of Seasons. I don't know. Maybe. Who knows?
If you want to
Who
record
knows?
my reactions, I can always come.
Yeah, listen, we'll let you know. I think we'll have you on when we are reacting to crazy stuff. And Thursdays, as always, is the EFG show with myself and Jeff Walker from the Frozen North, where we're going to continue to recap March Madness, which, by the way, is still going on the
Oh my
Twitter.
gosh.
Right now,
It's been so much fun to watch too. Oh
right
gosh.
right now, Super Mario World versus NHL '94. How's that for your Canadian self? You okay with that? You gonna be all right?
I don't know. I'm gonna need a minute to process.
You're gonna need a minute. It's gonna be okay. The good news is the poll's gonna be up for 24 hours, so you got plenty of time.
Awesome.
Nice.
I got plenty of time to vote.
Plenty of time to vote, and we're going to continue it over on our Twitter. So everybody, thank you very much for watching. We, certainly appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to come join us while we record this live. Amanda, you are on this Twitch app like every day. It's not every day, but it's
around
close.
a lot. I'm around a lot. I am here Monday, Friday, and Saturday since I am moving Ready Player Mom After Dark. So if you want to connect with really, really cool people and not have my language very sanitized, then you should come hang out with us after dark. But you can find me Wednesday afternoons. I play Civ 6 and I do history lessons. So that is called Reckon History. I play that with my very dear friend Sarah LaBeouf. And our stream just turned 1. It is always a really, really good time. We have a blast. We talk Civ, we talk cultural context, we talk politics. We do not shy away from things. So if politics make you squeamish, maybe don't hang out with us. Yeah, Steve hangs out, and Six Pack Nerds Gaming hangs out with us sometimes. It's really, really fun. Fridays, we do indie games. We have been really enjoying Little Dragons Cafe. We played some Animal Crossing, even though that's not indie, but it's Animal Crossing, and the new update came out, so I'm back to being obsessed with it. So that's Fridays. Fridays we pick an indie game and we go play it, and sometimes the indie game is weird, and sometimes the indie game is cozy, and sometimes the indie game breaks. So we don't know. We're rolling the dice. And After Dark is usually, at least for now, it's Halo. We're in the midst of finishing up Halo Reach so we can move on to Halo 4 and then 5 to get prepped for Halo Infinite coming at some time in the future. I want to believe that it'll be out this fall, but I also don't know. Just take your time, guys. It'll be okay. 343, I believe in you.
We believe in you.
I believe in you. It'll be out when it's out, damn it, and it'll be fantastic. So that's what I do.
All right. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to sign off. So everybody, thank you very much for joining us. Linda's freaking Skype window is just having a seizure.
It's having a bad day.
It's having a bad day. We're going to have to figure out what's going on.
So
I don't know.
Until next time, everybody, you have yourself a great night. And don't forget to get your family game on. Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.